and I throw a crayon to my fan. Like, here's a crayon for you, rock and roll. What I do is a daily strip. Basically, that's what pay the bills. I have a daily strip in our that's been running for 17 years almost.
Okay.
It started in Argentina in 2002, and since last year it's been syndicated by King Features. So it started running in newspapers here in the States and somewhere, other places, mysterious places. Like I get people from Finland or from crazy, countries sending me letters now, which is fun.
Go here.
That's macanudo, which is an Argentinian word for everything's fine, which is something that never happens in Argentina. So it's kind of an optimistic word. And I think if macanudo has one original aspect to it, and this is the only one I kind of find, is that it goes into all these different types of humor. Generally a daily strip has one type of humor. So you have absurd humor with Far Side, and you have political humor with this, and you have sweet humor with that, or family humor or whatever. I like all those types of humor. I like dark humor. I like weird humor. I like, and when I started doing a daily strip, it's there's so many horror stories of people being, feeling stuck with one thing for the rest of their lives, that the thing I went for was like, this place is going to be a freedom, absolute freedom. I can do whatever I want. Of course, at the beginning, it's kind of confusing. People go like, what the fuck is this thing? Yeah. But as soon as they kind of realize, they go like, yeah. And then everybody kind of picks and chooses their favorite actors. Yeah. But if you give it time, it sinks in. I actually lived in Montreal for a year back in 2007. Yeah, it was beautiful, man. I love that place. 2007, and my little girl Matilda, who was made in Montreal. Yeah. It was a beautiful soul flying over Montreal, and we grabbed her and made her. Now you'll be born in Argentina here. But she has a certain je ne sais quoi that we think, came from our little apartment, and it was Rue Partenez, yeah. And, we went two persons, okay. and three people came back. So definitely there's I have a connection with that city. I love it. And then, they invited me, these nice people said like, do you want to make the poster? And I have seen the Meg Fitzgerald poster that she made, and I have met her a couple of times, and she's really nice, and she's a great cartoonist. And I was like, oh, I don't know, I have to really work on this. So, and what I went for is, the one thing I loved, because I started studying law when I was a kid, and then advertising and all these things that you think you have to do just to make money. And at some point I went into a workshop, a cartooning workshop, and I really like cartoonists. Like those are the nicest fucking people in the world. They, they're generous. Nobody's in it for the money, because nobody goes like, I'm gonna be a cartoonist and get like all those girls and drugs and rock and roll. No, girls run away. You can't do drugs because you have to work all the time, and then you can listen to rock and roll, I guess, and while you're inking. But so cartoonists are really people that love what they do, and they're absolutely honest about what they do, and they're this very mixed bag of people. Everybody's very and like I said, I'm very honest, so you can see very different personalities in the work. Yeah. And so the poster was kind of that, like my love for cartoonists, so they're there and they're working for publishers, also for the readers. And I just made a big ball of all those weird people that I really loved, and and then just make them enjoy what they do. I thought like a ball of cartoonists, of people, If when you see the poster, is this just like little planet of people intermingled, kind of like an orgy, but with the clothes on, I guess. A nerd orgy with clothes on, and everybody's reading and drawing. Right place at the right time. As every now and then a young cartoonist comes to me and says like, Mr. Liniers, what could I do? Give me some advice. And it's just be lucky. Put in the hours, the sitting hours and the drawing hours, and then just be lucky. And it was kind of that. Françoise, she actually found a Macanudo collection that the guys at La Pastèque, my friends from Montreal, published a few years ago, and she liked that stuff, and then she wanted me to draw something for her tune books, and we were talking about those tune books one time I visited New York, and she started going like, oh, you can also do some sketches for the magazine cover. And I thought like, what magazine? Like, I thought she was still publishing Raw, that old magazine from the 80s. And I was like, while I was thinking what magazine cover, I was sitting in the New Yorker office. And then I went like, oh, the magazine. So I was trying to, act cool and pretend that, yeah, sure, I could do that. I was freaking out. And then it was so nice of them to publish a few of them, and it wasn't even in the most absurd plans when I started drawing penguins in 16 years ago that I'm heading for the New Yorker now. I love daily strips. I grew up reading Calvin and Hobbes, and there's an Argentinian strip called Mafalda, which was the best. And then just because I know I can have one idea per day. That's my just, and it doesn't have to be a good idea, just an idea. That's me performing at the extreme of my powers. Sometimes I just go experimental, and people get angry at me. Sometimes I'll do a long story. So it's a very free space. However I wake up, that's what I'll draw. I have no idea what I'm going to draw from one day to the next. A lot of my work has to do with before I had kids, with remembering how it felt to be a kid. Okay. I have that. We all have those early memories of running around or playing or whatever, and I kind of went a lot to that, just over that bridge to remember that. And now I have 3 little girls that they just perform this thing like a little surrealist play in front of me every day. And kids are crazy. It's like living with surrealists, little Buster Keatons. They're very funny and very weird. So it's my kind of people. Someone comes apologetically and says like, and I don't really understand your strips, And generally what I say also kind of apologetically is, sometimes I don't understand them either. I'm so sorry, No, man, merci beaucoup.